Good morning, everyone. We're going to start today's session. First, I would like to recap what we have seen in yesterday's session. Yesterday, we've seen about DXC, direct extractor connection. So using DXC, we can bypass BW and transfer data to SAP HANA. So step number one, we have to make sure ECC and BW are communicating using RFC, remote function call. Step number two, ECC to HANA is a HTTP connection. Step number three, configure RS admin table, wherein you have the name of the schema in which a DXC table should need to be created, and the connection that we are going to use for communication between ECC and SAP HANA. Step number four, identify the data source, a standard data source, or you would like to go for a custom data source. Replicate data source, next step, using RSDST code. Activate data source. Once the data source is activated, in-memory DSO consisting of 5 tables, 0, 0, 40, 70, 80 AO are created under the schema. Create info package and execute info package. Once we create and execute, the data from ECC tables is transferred to the final table, that is a 0, 0 table, which is active data table. An active data table we use inside the data models. So this is what we see yesterday. And then practically we have seen RFC establishing HTTP connection, and then we even updated RS admin table using a program, and the next step is replicating of data sources. So this is where we stopped yesterday. So I'll continue from yesterday's exercise to identify and replicate data sources to SAP BW, and thereby creating an in-memory DSO when we activate the data source. So let us log into system. Let's log into system. Log into system. So what is the T code to identify standard data sources RSA5? T code to create your own data source RSO2. So let us log into HANA Studio. Let's log into SAP ECC system. Enter the T code RSA1. So RSA1 is the important T code for BW systems. The T code is RSA1. So let's go to create session. Enter the T code RSA5. RSA5. This is for standard data sources. So I'll just write down RSA5 is for standard data sources. RSA1 is a T code data warehousing workbench. RSO2 is to create custom data sources. We can create our own data source, custom data sources. So now let's go to RSA5, click enter. Expand SAPR by 3. Expand SD. Expand SDIO. Yesterday we were taking this data source 0 sales org underscore ATTR. So double click on this data source. So where is this data source currently? The data source that you see here, the data source is on ECC system. So this is the data source. Now this data source is on the ECC. Now where we would like to take this data source? This data source I would like to take to BW. So first we need to replicate this to BW. So once you replicate and activate, where is this going to get created? It's going to get created in HANA system. In the form of different tables like 00, 40, 70, 80 and AO. So first we need to replicate this data source from ECC to BW. We know the data source, so this is the data source. Now for example, you want to check how many number of records we can transfer to BW system from this data source. So what kind of data is coming from this data source? Standard data sources you can see in RSA 5. If you want to test or check data source, RSA 3 is to check data source data. To replicate from ECC to BW, T code RSDS. So let us do a quick check. So how do we check data sources? What is the T code? RSA3. So let's copy this data source. Click on create session. Enter the T code RSA3. Click enter. Copy paste data source name. This is extractor checker. You're checking the data source. For a data source, the other name is extractor. That's why DXC, direct extractor connection. Extractors are also known as data sources. Provide the data source name and click execute. Start extraction. So once you click on start, once you execute, so it will show us the number of records it is extracting from these data sources. It's taking some time. Okay, there are about 88 records are there. So from this data source, you're getting about 88 records. So I'll just write down here. So how many records we see from the check data source data? About 88 records are coming in from this data source. So this I'm doing the check on the ECC system. Okay, so once the check is complete, this check is not mandatory, it's optional, but just to check how many records are coming from this data source. It's about 88. Now let us replicate using RSDS transaction code. So I'll create session and enter RSDS and click enter. So once you give the T code RSDS, provide the data source name, provide the name of the data source, and provide the source system. So click on source system. So what is the source system here? Yesterday, you remember we discussed about the source system. The source system is nothing but the name of the RFC connection. So what's the RFC yesterday? T90 CLNT090. So we're going to use this RFC connection. Using this RFC connection, I'm going to replicate this data source to BW. So this is the RFC. So using this RFC, T90 CLNT090, using this T code, I'm going to get this data source to BW. I'm giving the data source name and giving the RFC connection name or the source system name. So once we provide these details, click data source and click replicate data source. So once we replicate, click on replicate. So once we click on replicate data sources, now you get a message at the bottom, a data source 0 sales org underscore ATT are replicated. Excuse me. So once the data source is replicated, so once this data source is replicated, we get the message. So this is a message you're going to get at the end of the replication. A data source 0 sales org underscore ATT are replicated. To where it is replicated? It's replicated to BW. But how do you check whether it is replicated or not? Just we need to click on this. You see here you see an icon called change data source. Click on this icon, change data source. If it's replicated, we can see this data source. So this is the data source. So once the data source is in change mode, now this is in change mode. So we see there is an icon called activate. So what is the next step? Once we replicate, activate data source in BW. So to activate, we need to click on this icon. Activate data source. So once I activate here, then immediately these tables are created in the best schema. In SAP HANA. So let us activate. Click on activate. So before that, what I would like to show you is I'll just copy this data source name, go back to HANA Studio, expand system, expand catalog, go to the best schema, expand best schema, right click on tables and click filter, copy paste the table name, the data sources name, and click OK. Once you click OK, now please see, once you filter this, do you find any tables here? We don't find any tables here because we haven't activated yet. So once you activate, these tables will be created in the best schema that are relevant for these data sources. So let's go back. Now we are on the BW. Click on activate. So now we are activating. So whatever the configuration we have done yesterday, it's still up to date in RS admin. So based on the configuration in RS admin, so we remember yesterday RS admin table we taken best schema. So in the best schema, these tables will be created. So once these tables are created, so once you create these tables, the next step is create info package. Create info package in BW and execute info package. So we need to create and execute. Let's go back. Let's go back to data source. It's still processing. It's still in the process of activation. So we are activating now. Still it is activating. It's taking some time to activate. So when the system is slow, sometimes you see system is taking longer time. So for this, what we can do is we'll just try to check any SLT jobs are running in the background. LTRC. If any jobs, SLT, please see, these jobs are running and it degrades the system performance. So what we can do is we can just deactivate them. If you're not using them, what we can do, we can just deactivate so that it improves the system performance. Because anyways, it's only for practical purpose. So once these exercises are finished, once you think that your exercises are finished, we can deactivate them. So anytime you think system is slow when working, please directly go to LTRC and deactivate these jobs. It's in the training center. So let's go back now and let's check now. So let's go back to display data source. Now immediately data source is activated. So once the data source is activated, so let's go back. So what's going to happen? The tables are going to get created in the best schema. So right click on the tables and let's click refresh. So once you refresh, now we should be able to see these tables like 0, 0, 40, 70, 80 and AO. So now these tables are created under best schema. So once these tables are created under best schema, please check out when you select this table, right click on the table and click open data preview. The tables are empty. Now once you find these tables are empty, these tables don't have any data. It's basically empty. What is the next step? Create info package. Tables are created but there is no data. So how will these 88 records that are present on the ECC system, these 88 records need to be transferred to 00 table. So the data needs to be transferred to 00. So in order to transfer this 88 records to 00 table, what we need to execute? Info package. Nothing but info package is nothing but packets of information. But what is the communication? In order to transfer this 88 records from this ECC data source to HANA, the communication is HTTP communication. The HTTP communication we already established yesterday. And also updated an RS admin table. So let's create an info package on the BW system. So to create this info package, which can transfer data from ECC to BW, let's go back to a T code called RSA1. So let's enter the T code RSA1, click enter. Find for your data source. So now we're in the RSA1 T code. In the RSA1 T code, click on source systems, double click on source system, and select the application component, click search, copy paste the name of the data source, provide the name of the data source, and click search. So once we click on search, at the bottom you can find these data sources. So this is the data source. Right click on this data source, and click create info package. So once we click on create info package, copy the technical name and paste it at the info package descriptions. So info package, copy paste the description and finally click save. So once you click save, click on save, click on schedule, and then click on start. So either you can start yourself or you can start later in background. You can check this option. Start later in background. So once you check this option, you can provide the date and time when this job should be started. So you can give the periodic value, whether you would like to do it for hour, daily, weekly, monthly. So you need to select this period and then you can give a schedule. For example, daily. I would like to do this on daily basis. Click on period value and click daily, click save and provide the date. And provide the time. So this is the system time, server time, the time on the server. Based on the server time zone, we need to give this schedule. So once you give the schedule, you can save this. So you can give it a start in the later in the background. Or if you want to start right away, click on start data load immediately and click on start. So either you can give the schedule, you can give a schedule, or you can start immediately, immediate start. So click on start. So job is about to start. So batch job. So you want to see the jobs, click on jobs. So this is the job. The system generated a unique ID. So system generated a unique ID and click execute. So here you see the job status is cancelled. The job has run, but so to see what's the issue, select the job and click on job log. So it says internal session terminated with runtime error message underscore type X. Okay, so let's go back again. Let us do the schedule again. Just double click, start data load immediately, and click on start. Let's try again. A data was requested. So in order to see whether data was requested, and now we can go back to HANA, right click on 00 table, and let's see whether the data has come in or not. Click data preview. So once you click data preview, so the data has come in. So here you see 88 rows have been transferred. So here on the ECC you have 88 rows in the data source. The same 88 rows are now in the 00 table. So once these 88 rows are transferred, now this data belongs to sales organizations. So we can take this table, expand content, right click on the package, click new, click on analytic view, provide the name an underscore pa underscore actual, provide the analytic view name and click finish. So once we finish, click on the plus icon at the data foundation, copy paste the table, data source name, and select the table, click OK, and select all the required columns from the table. What are the columns that we require? Select the star join. Just I'm trying to show you. So we can use these tables wherever it's necessary. So wherever you think these tables are necessary, we can use these tables inside the data model. This is DXC. So in order to get these data sources to SAP HANA, first we need to replicate, activate. Structures are created once you execute info package, a data at 00 table. Now we have done standard. So this is the standard process. So in the standard process, once you execute info package, first where the data comes to? It comes to 40. But who is going to take control to transfer data from 40 to 00 table? Who is actually taking this control to transfer? System automatically takes the control to transfer. So our intervention is not at all necessary here. The system is actually transferring from here. Now, the question here is, what is the purpose of 40 table and why? First the data should come to 40 and then it should go to 00 table. So why 40 and then to 00? Okay, Now 40 is called as activation queue table. It's called as activation queue. And 00 table is active data table. So what's the logic between 40 and 00 table? So what is actually happening between them? And why first we need to get to 40 and then to 00? So why? Because now please see here, the structure of 00 table and the structure of 40 table are different. So both the structures have a different expand catalog. Go to the best schema, double click on 00 table, double click on 40 table. So what is the difference that you find here? So the difference that we find at 00 table and 40 table, please notice here, what's the difference here? Please see, is 40 table, does it have any key? Please notice there is no key in the 40 table, whereas when you click on 00 table, client is the key and VKORG is the key. Sales organization is the key. So basically both have the same structure. But except the key. The keys are basically different here. So we don't have a key here. So what is the purpose when you don't have a key? So when you don't have a key, what is the use of when you don't have a key? Let me explain. So what's going to happen here is, let's say a 001 is sales organization. 001 sales organization, Germany. So let's say Berlin. So let's say BL is the code. Now instead of BL, you want the code to be BL. So already 001 BL is in 00 table. So for the first time, when you execute an info package, this record is already available in 00 table. Next time, what you've done is, you've done the modification. You modified BL to BL. Basically, you removed E. So you've done the modification on the ECC system for the sales organization. You try to update, you updated the current record. So what should happen next time? Next time when you execute info package, first the BL record will first go to 40 table. So BL you already have in 00 table. Now you have BL. So it will check based on the primary key 00 table is a sales organization ID. So whatever the record which is already there, based on the logic between 40 and 00 table. It's going to overwrite the current record. So BL will be overwritten with BL. So why 40 table do not have a key? Because if it has a key, when you try to overwrite record, what it will say, so you already have an existing record, then you try to bring in the same record. When you have a key in the table, what will happen? Unique constraint violated. It violates the unique constraint because there is already an existing key. You're getting the same key again to the same table. So it says you already have a same record in the table. Why you're getting a next record? The same key, why you're getting the data? So what it does, it cannot overwrite, nor it can insert, because you already have a key. So this is the case with 00 tables. So when you directly get data to 00 table, what's happening? It violates the unique constraint. You already have a record, you're getting the same record again to the same table. So first what we do is we get data to a table where there is no key. So when you don't have key, with the same key you can have n number of entries. So with 1001 you can have 100 entries. So first it will receive data. So 40 table is in a position to receive data. So once it is in a position to receive data, then there is a logic between 00 and 40. If you have a record that is coming with the same key, overwrite the existing record. If you have a record coming with the same key into the 40 table, 001 is already there in 001 is already there in 00 table, 001 is already there in 40. So from 40, when system does automatic activation of data, what it does, it overwrites the existing record, and hence BL is updated to BL. Just to overwrite existing record, we populate data to an intermediate table, which is an activation queue table, where the table do not have any key. And from here, system automatically transfer data from 40 table to 00 table. So this is the logic behind having a 40 table and not getting directly data to a 00 table. So what we will do is, tomorrow I'll show you an exercise on how this override functionality work. So tomorrow I'll show you with a custom data source. So today we see with standard. Today I've shown you by using a standard data source. Let's see tomorrow with a custom data source. Procedure is same. There's no difference in the procedure. Procedure is same, but this time we'll use custom data source. So for the first 10 to 15 minutes, I'll show you this procedure. So once we complete this procedure, then we start topics related to UI integration and advanced modeling. Advanced modeling and the UI integration part we start from tomorrow. So any questions participants may have for today, please post your question. I'll read your question and answer your question. So to conclude, identify data source, replicate data source, activate data source, tables created in SAP HANA, create info package, execute info package, check data, logic between 00 table, 40 table. It allows incoming records to 40 because there is no key. So from there is a logic written between 00 and 40. Whenever you get with the same key, overwrite the record. And this process is automatically taken care of by system. So here we have a few questions here. I'll read out these questions. So even we'll see how we can do provisioning in S4 HANA system. We'll also see the provisioning in S4 HANA system. So here I'll read out the questions. So how do we schedule job in BODS? The question here is, how do we schedule jobs in BODS? So to schedule jobs in BODS, we use Data Services Management Console. So where do you find this Data Services Management Console? Let me show you. So once you go to Start, Computer, C drive, let's go to Shortcuts folder, double click on Data Services Management Console. So where do you find this Management Console? Here, Data Services Management Console, double click. I think the service is down now. So once you get to this service is down, so basically once you get to Data Services Management Console, there you'll have an option. Once you click on Data Services, expand, you find jobs, select the repository. Once you select the repository, on the left hand side, you find add schedule. You can add schedule, give the schedule and activate. It's very, very simple. We need to get to the interface. Service is down currently. So tomorrow I'll show you again. So we need to go to this, provide the username and password. Click on the repository. There you'll find add schedule. Once you click on add schedule, you can give what's the date and time and activate the schedule. Once you activate, at regular intervals of time or date, it transfers the data. The next question. In the best schema, please tell the activation queue activated exactly matching. Yeah, activation queue table, basically if you see, activation queue table is 40 table and 00 table is active data table. So both are the same, but only the difference is the structure for the keys are different. Both the tables are same. So next question, is this called BW powered by SAP HANA? No, this is not BW powered by HANA. This is the sidecar scenario. BW is inside ECC system. So this is not BW powered by HANA, that's a different system. BW powered by HANA. So this is a sidecar scenario. That's the main car. So we'll see the main car scenario later, but for now we're focusing on the sidecar. Next question, info package is created in ECC or BW. For this training, BW is embedded inside ECC. Info packages are created in which system? Info packages are created in BW system. You can only create info packages inside the BW. Right click on data source. Right click on data source. So where are data sources in BW? How data sources came to BW when you replicate? What is the origin of data source ECC? So replicate, activate, right click on data source and create info package on the BW system. So if there is any error record in the activation, how do we fix it? So if there is any error in the activation process, now here we have one question. If there is any error in the activation process, how do we fix it? So we fix these errors. Please see. Suppose say there is an error when you schedule jobs, or you see I got an error called cancelled. Job was cancelled. So I tried to check the job log and then I re-executed it. So whenever you have any error, please check the job log. So you can click on jobs, click on execute. So here you have the job, select the job, click job log. The job log will give the log why it has terminated. So so I just try to execute again, then it got successful. So you can check these errors on the job log. So how it will transfer with the same key into the 00 table? Yeah. So when we execute, at the same time, the data is not going to 00 table. So there is a logic that SAP has written between a 00 table and 40. So I executed info package. So once you execute info package, now there are two tables. So in HANA, these two tables are different. One is a 00 table, another one is a 40 table. So you executed a job, but first where it transferred data to 40 table. From there it needs to go to 00 table. So between 40 and 00 table, there is an understanding between both these tables. What is that understanding between both these tables? Nothing but the logic. What is the logic? Whenever you get a record with the same key, if you're getting a new record with the same key, override the existing record. So that is the logic maintained during the activation of data from 40 table to 00 table, and this is automatically handled by system. So how it gets the same record to the 00 table? Because SAP maintains an internal logic. It says if you're getting the record with the same key, overwrite. So next question. I think some questions are repeating. I think okay, next question. Okay, as we see, the BW is required for DXC setup. Then how are we bypassing BW by DXC? Okay, so the question is, how can you say we bypass BW system? Okay, please see here. So I executed job on the BW system. So when I executed job, the 88 records needs to be transferred to BW. By right, it should transfer to BW. So first it needs to transfer to BW. So that is the classic procedure. So classic procedure is going to transfer to BW. But please see, when I executed a job, it doesn't transfer these 88 records to BW. But instead, 88 records are transferred to 00 table. Please check it out. I'll go back. So when we say bypass, you see we're inside the data source, or you can go to RSA1. So here you find data source. Right click on data source and click manage. So bypass means I'm trying to show you what is the bypass mean. Click manage. Click on this request. Click on this request in the green color. You see 88 records are transferred, but where it is transferred? To HANA or to BW? Please see, once I select this and I click on this icon, PSA maintenance. So do you find any data here? We don't find any data. So when you don't find any data inside the BW, so that's why we call it as bypass, because data is not transferred to BW because you have 0 records in BW. So usually it transfers over here, but now we have 0 records. So where the final data ended up landing is at HANA system. So that's why we say it as we bypass the existing BW system. Which documents can we refer to learn and practice? So please refer to a document S4H01 and HA350. HA350 and S4H01. Next question. For DXC, we have a connection between ECC and HANA. We don't have a connection between BW and HANA. Then how data is being moved using an info package? So BW to ECC is an RFC connection. Please see what's happening here is when you execute an info package send the request using this RFC connection to ECC. From ECC, data sources to data sources backend tables. So data is present over here. Now when data is present over here, now again what we'll try to do, our data sources, it's going to bypass. So it's not going to transfer again to BW because the number of records you get is 0. We're not going to use this. So using a HTTP connection, it transfers to HANA system. So that is DXC. So when there is no DXC, it transfers to here. When there is DXC, it bypasses the existing BW and transfer to HANA system. So next question. Similar to RS admin is maintained in ECC or BW. So RS admin is a table in the embedded BW system. It's maintained. Next question. After passing data to 00 table from 40 table, will the data still available in 40 or it is deleted in 40? Once the data is activated, the data from 40 is deleted. Please check out. I'll go back to HANA Studio, and when you right click on 40 table and click open data preview, the data in 40 is deleted. So once the activation is complete, the data in 40 deleted and data available in 00 table. So kindly please leave the course, what I need to deliver, please leave it that to me, because I know what to deliver. So please kindly leave the schedule to me. So course is organized in such a way the participants can understand. Please kindly leave the schedule to me. What I need to discuss, how I need to explain to participants, that is my responsibility. And your responsibility is whether you're understanding the topics or not. If you're not understanding the topics, please let me know. I will still find another way to explain the topics. But please don't decide behalf of me what I need to teach and how I need to teach. Please kindly understand the schedule that I'm trying to deliver and how I'm actually teaching these topics is based on the best practices I have delivered in previous batches. Schedule is something, what topics I'm going to deliver, it's purely in my hand. So please kindly don't let me jump from one topic to a different topic, because I'm delivering these classes on the best practices. Please kindly understand. We cannot jump from one topic to a different topic suddenly, the same day. Because yesterday, you see, even when I'm teaching DXC concept, I ask the participants how much comfortable they're feeling. When participants say they're not feeling comfortable, immediately I stop the same topic and forget about another topic discussing in the middle of. That is, for me, it is not a good practice to suddenly jump from a DXC to UI integration, and then UI integration I go to S4 HANA topics. No one is going to benefit, nor I or participants who are listening will benefit. It simply creates confusion. So when you have confusion, there is no clarity, and there is no clarity, we cannot remember things. Please leave the schedule for me kindly, because I'm trying to deliver my best, and I'm giving my best every day to make the participants understand. I can jump, there is no problem for me to jump, but the problem is it simply creates confusion and no clarity. I hope everyone do agree with me on the same. Please don't mind. This is what I feel, so I need to tell at some point of time what I feel. Okay, so we go to the next question. After passing data to 00 table from 40 table, will the data still available? Okay, I think we have completed this question. As you said, only one time we need DXC. Later it is not required. What does that mean? So what do we mean by DXC is required one time and later it is not required? The configuration part, once we establish the connection, once we establish the RFC connection, once we establish the HTTP connection, it's only the one-time configuration. So later what we need to do? You replicate data sources, tables are created in SAP HANA. So the next thing that we need to do is only schedule. So once you schedule, give a schedule, okay, daily at 8 a.m. the job needs to execute. So once we have that schedule, based on the schedule the data gets transferred. Based on the schedule it gets transferred. So we need to give the schedule. So every day we don't do this process. One time RFC connection, one time HTTP connection for all the data sources. So next question. Suppose say if there is any error record in the source and we fix it in BW, whether it is automatically fixed in SAP HANA? The question is, if you try to fix anything in BW, then will it able to fix in SAP HANA? Yes. So if you try to fix anything in BW, it automatically fixes in SAP HANA. Please check. I'll show you one scenario here. For example, I go back, click back, right click on data source and click manage. I select the request and let's click delete. Suppose I just delete this request, for example. A request is nothing but a set of data that is transferred. So if I delete this, if anything I do it in BW, I deleted this. So once you delete, now please go to HANA and right click on 00 table and click open data preview. So please see you find data? No. So when you right click on 00 and click data preview, so you don't find data, it's deleted. So what does this mean? Anything that you do it in BW, still it is going to affect in SAP HANA. Still that effect will be there. Anything that you do it on the BW side, still it's interlinked with SAP HANA. So you delete, it's going to get deleted here. Our next question. So tomorrow, will you show us the classic procedure? Yes, tomorrow I'll show you the classic procedure. Tomorrow we see the classic procedure. Next question. RSDS T code is executed in ECC or BW? RSDS T code is executed on the BW system. It's on the BW, RSDS. RSDS is a T code to replicate data sources. This T code is on the BW system. So next question, where are we using 70-80 tables, 80 AO tables? 70-80 AO are basically control tables. These have system related information. For example, if I go back to say 80 table or AO table, you will see a statistics related to the load. So if I right click on AO and click data preview, so here you can see the timestamp. So here you can see the timestamp on November 5th. So it's actually backdated time. The server is backdated. That's why you can see the old time. There is a request that has come to SAP HANA. So basically it has all the statistics related to, all the data related to statistics into these tables. So not able to access the recordings in the Dropbox. Please talk to Bharat. So Bharat is now only assigned for support. So now he is purely assigned for support activities because he got little busy handling. So now I kept him only for support related to students' queries. So he's the main contact for support for students. So please contact Bharat to get the recording details because he's the single point of contact for getting all the recording details. And also I'm going to give you, tomorrow I'm going to give you one support number. I kept one support number especially for support. Tomorrow I'm going to share that. So he will be the main. Sometimes what happens is he's talking so it may get engaged. In those times please write an email he will surely get back based on your email, because he's looking after all the emails and all the support activities. So I am basically looking after taking classes. So all the things related to server details and Dropbox, please kindly contact Bharat. The next question, do we need to update RS admin at every replication? So RS admin table is only one-time configuration. We don't have to configure multiple times. It's only one-time configuration. So once you do the configuration, it's act globally for all the data sources. So Dropbox is giving an error 404. Please get the new link from Bharat. So Bharat has the new link. Please get the new link from Bharat. So here, can you explain the steps that we need to do in ECC and the steps need to be done in BW? Okay. So what was the first step? Step number 1 was to create an RFC. So creating source system is on the BW system. So that is the step on the BW. Because it's an embedded system, you create an RFC and create a source system on the BW. Creating a HTTP connection, that's on the ECC. Update RS admin, that's on the embedded BW. Create a data source or use an existing data source, that's on the ECC. Replicate data source, that's on BW. Activate data source, that's on BW. Create info package, that's on BW. Execute, that's on BW. And finally get data to 00 table, that's on SAP HANA. So we are updating to RS admin table every time the different jobs, the configuration we overwritten, right? Yeah, because in this case, when participants use the same system, when they try to update RS admin configuration, yeah, surely it's going to affect other schemas also. So better not to change the configuration, because configuration is only one-time activity. So if you want to change, you can change for practice, but after you change, please kindly replace to the best schema and the HDB connection. So you can work, but at the end, please kindly replace to the existing configuration. Thanks everyone to attend today's session. I'll see you tomorrow, same time. Until then, good morning and good night to everyone. Thank you.